Injuries are as much a reality in rugby as getting wet is in the rain. But are we doing enough to protect our children from the frightening possibilities the game poses? For instance, if we were to ban tackling in school rugby altogether, would we be protecting them or exposing them more? In an open letter to British ministers, 70 doctors and academics have called for a ban on tackling in school rugby in the UK and Ireland. And the petition is starting to make waves here too. But Ross Tucker, a sports science consultant for World Rugby, believes that the secret to minimizing the risk of injury is in the technique.
Banning tackles in children could be actually counterproductive because now the kid doesn't need to tackle. So you've denied them the need and the opportunity to learn how to tackle until one day, as a 17, 18-year-old, suddenly they have to tackle and they haven't got the technical grounding.
But Alison Pollock, the professor who's heading the petition in the UK, sees it differently.
The risks and rates of injury are very high because rugby is a collision sport. And not only are they high, but most of those injuries occur, 90% of them are occurring during contact. And 2/3 of all injuries occur during the tackle.
Now, those statistics are obviously based on British data. So how do the numbers actually stack up in South African school rugby? Well, in 2010 and 11, a research organization conducted research at 2 Johannesburg schools during their annual Easter rugby festivals. Over 300 boys from 22 schools took part in over 3 days in each year. For every 100 hours of playing time, an average of 4.08 injuries were recorded. But only around 50% of all injuries were actually caused by tackles in year 1, which rose to 60% in year 2. But here's the thing, the majority of all injuries were soft tissue abrasions and lacerations. To be exact, 72% in 2010 and 77% in 2011. But let's face it, we could draw statistics on a chalkboard all day, but when tragedy strikes on the field of play, very real conversations need to take place.
We ran on for second half and I played a few minutes, and after a while I went down for the tackle, and instead of lifting my head up and looking where the player was changing direction or not, his knee collided with my neck, and that resulted in my neck breaking.
Dylan's father was pitchside when it happened, though he still advocates proper coaching over banning contact altogether.
Far more time needs to be spent with each of the players, regardless of their age group, whether it's from the youngest under 7s right through to the under 18s and even further. Every time they should be making sure that the going into the tackle is correct, that they are tackling correctly, that will prevent injuries like this from happening.
Today, Dylan is in Matric and an ambassador for BoxSmart, a SARU-sanctioned training program for coaches and referees to educate them on procedures likely to prevent injury.
Because all of this is about the players. It's just protecting the players.
No matter which side of the debate you're on, you can't argue with him there. Junia Stainbank in Johannesburg.